So I'll call this regular select board meeting of the town of Proctor to order. Would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on the agenda is review and approve the agenda.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Next, review and approve the minutes from the January 8th regular select board meeting.
Motion to approve. Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Open public comment. Bill.
All right, these like private police forces and things like that you get in your town, they're a cancer on towns and they just do nothing for you but draw all your money. Like this police force in Pittsburgh, why do they have the resources to be offering you services? They should be doing their job in Pittsburgh. All they do is bloat and they grow. It's part of this system of like destroying town governments. It's a cancer. It's just like having a unelected body, like a, well, you probably want to move to like a, like what would you call that? What are those boards they have, like where you have a community homeowners association?
Is that what we know?
No, I don't know. But anyway, it just seems like once you get in these contracts that are extremely hard to get out of, it just becomes cancerous, and in the end game is always just to get your own police force so you can write your own little laws and terrorize the whole town, you know, and make them get certain stickers on their car and pay you money. And then it turns into almost a private enterprise for people and unelected bodies to be having their way over the town, and I don't like it at all. I don't appreciate private police forces or anything like that. That's my statement. You keep moving in the direction of like a homeowners association or something like that taking over the town. And I've lived in a lot of places in my lifetime, and I've seen this happen over and over and over again. Towns just moving right to getting from some type of process that's public and everybody can have a say to all of a sudden everything's taken away. You have an mayor, you have a homeowners association making all these rules, and places where you live become absolute crap holes to live in just because of all the rules and regulations, and nobody, and it's almost like nobody's allowed to be happy, and it's just like, and it grounds certain people into the ground, and I could go on and on about it. It happens, and I can point out a lot of examples. It would just be nice to have a laid-back town with people that actually just focus on doing their job in the town, just focus on taking care of things. It would be nice to see us not take on new this, new that, new this, and have all this money going into these holes and nobody having control over the projects. Rather, I would just be great to see like manage what's here and have and pay for the sheriff, have things, keep things really simple instead of adding complexities and things that are just almost out of control. That's okay. I'm done. I hate speaking negatively. I'm sorry, but I don't. So, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your feedback. Anything else, John?
Bruce, Ben, I gave you a lot of stuff, all right, and a lot of things I told you to do, and you said you would look into it. Well, nothing being looked into. Number two, I brought about the one-ton dump truck with the weight. It went one ear, out the other. Well, they got my property, and I noticed a lot of other property got hit hard. They don't need a wing on a 2-inch snowstorm. And I watched him going down the hill up on Chandler Park when I was coming up the hill and the lady was in front of me. He didn't give that lady not any right of way or nothing. She drove on Jerry McGilli's lawn.
What day was that, John? What storm?
It wasn't this last snowstorm, but the one that we had the most snow, it snowed all day. Remember the one that snowed all day there? We got, what, 4 inches, maybe 6 inches? Come on, we don't need a wing on Chattanooga Park and High Street, and some of these roads are only not even 16 feet wide. It's fine on West Street or East Street, but he's hit everybody's lawn. You guys won't fix them, all right? Hastings' lawn, a next door neighbor of mine, she got clogged. This is unnecessary. Come on. And also, I noticed the sign at the triangle on the south side got hit. It got knocked down. They put it back up. What are we looking for? Planes coming in, not to use the road? It's not even facing south, it's facing east.
Okay. We can take a look at it.
Simple things like this what bothers me. I do pay my taxes, and I'm upset. And also I had to run in one of the employees, and I made a report. I just want to let you know. I'm very upset. I do pay my taxes.
I know you do.
And I pay for a service. But I notice a lot of people have stakes on their front lawn now. I notice it's more and more every year. They're putting it more and more because that tells me that these guys just don't care. I go to other towns, I don't see them all over the place.
Is there anything else, Sean?
Well, I'd like to know what's going on in this town, and who is running this town? Is the town manager running this town? Because this is what I've been hearing, and the board just goes along with what she says, or is the board running this town? That's what I want to know.
So John, the way town managers work is the town manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the town, and the board sets policy. Okay, we've hired a town manager, and that's how town managers work.
Well, how come the employees got a raise and you guys didn't know about it?
We did know about it, John.
I'm not gonna argue.
How do you know that we didn't know about it?
I've heard it too, I've heard it from the taxpayers, I've heard it, and I'm not gonna argue, I'm just very upset. We're not moving ahead, we're moving backwards. West Rutland moving ahead, Pittsburgh's moving ahead, they're getting grants, I've been bidding on them, I'm seeing things starting to move. Rutland City, I bid on a grant in Rutland City, I'm seeing things. Proctor, nothing.
What do you consider getting ahead? Like,
Because they got a person that's going after the grants and getting them.
oh, okay.
So John, we have a grant for the South Street Sidewalk. We got a grant for...
We've been talking about
John,
this when Mike was here.
John, will you please let me finish? We got a grant for the South Street Sidewalk. We had a grant for the paving on West Proctor Road. Okay, we are getting grants too, and we are trying to move things forward. I'm just answering your question.
Okay, but I'll answer your question, all right? The pavement on the West Proctor Road is a rotation. It goes to 3 different towns, all right? And if you got your stuff to get it, you get it. So you don't have to work hard on that bit, okay? Mike was here when we were talking about the sidewalk. When Mike was here,
Right. And Judy's only been here since August, so I don't
all
really
right,
think...
so don't tell me that for $82,000, if I had an employee for $82,000, I want to see something for my money's worth.
And we are seeing something for our money's worth, John.
Okay, maybe
Any other
you are.
questions?
That's
But
enough.
That's not appropriate. John, anything else?
No?
Thank you. Any other open public comment? Moving on to good stuff. The skating rink opened.
It did. I
Yes.
stopped over. It looked great.
Slightly scorched, but.
And has been,
Extremely busy for those 4 days.
Yeah, been a fight, but they have won. They've done a nice job.
To the ring, so that was good over the weekend.
and there was
That's
people from
nice.
lots of different areas
Yeah,
coming in.
A lot of
and-
different areas. There was over 300 people there yesterday. So, that's great.
I think you can go tonight if after the meeting if anybody wants
Are
to.
they open till 9?
I think it was 9.
I hope it's 9.
Yeah, I think it was.
All right, everybody has to do it.
All right. Any other good stuff?
I think the roads are in good shape. They've done a nice job.
The ice sculpture is up on Route 3.
Oh, is it up?
Yeah, boy, that went up quick this week there. Yeah, last week.
It's getting scary big. I'm worried about it falling on my house.
Perfect weather for it.
By you guys? Yeah, that's neat.
Metcalf, yeah. Nice, he does that.
Anything else? Okay. Everybody got a chance to review the bills and expenditures, sign the orders?
Yes.
All right, the warning updates and approval.
So I gave everybody an updated warning just because the figure with the ARPA funds was off like by $15. So I wanted to update the allocation piece of it for the asset fund that everybody's voting on. So it was like I believe it was like 889 and it's 787 or something like that. So I just wanted to update you and give you the right figure on that. So the one you have that I handed out is the correct one, and we can have you sign one of them. Do you want to just pass that one around?
Sure.
Article 7 should have a question mark at the end of it.
Shall the town.
Okay.
And you can just put it in with the black
Yeah,
pen and copy it.
I think I have a black pen, hold on. Yep, I do. There you go, question mark.
And then on that total, Judy, you know, I thought we were allocated from ARPA $476,899.44.
Yep.
We spent or allocated $150,000 for
Yep.
paving,
Right.
and
So the balance becomes an asset fund.
of 326.
No, because we had the 10,000 to the wastewater and water.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
5,000 each.
So if this looks good to everybody, is there a motion to approve the warning?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'll pass this down for people to sign. I just lose my agenda. There, nope, that's the minutes. There it is. ARPA funds allocation and readjustment to budget.
So I did the resolution, and because of the impact on the warning there with the dollar amount varying, we did the resolution over as well, just to reflect the accurate amount. And Albert, that's where you see in there the accepted allocation funds, the total. And then the resolution is for that asset fund to basically allow us to allocate that balance so that we prove that we're using it and assigning it before December 31st of 2024.
And this is what we discussed last meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Want mine to sign this one?
So is there a motion to approve the resolution for American Rescue Plan Act allocation?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So I'm going to send that down for people to sign. RFPs for the reappraisal were open to, well, RFP was open today. So Judy, you want to update us on that?
Yep. So Albert came down, we opened the bid with Lisa, and as a follow-up, she contacted them, and then she did a memorandum, which I also put on the table for everybody. And then the binder you have right here is their appraisal. What she's looking for tonight is a motion to accept the bid, and then she'll work on the contract with them. So she came on in case you had questions. And I told her that you may want to review it over the week, but this way she can answer, or she can actually support the bid as being, you know, a decent bid and stuff for going out for reappraisal.
Oh. Hi, Lisa.
I'm happy to answer any questions, and I see that John Vickery from Tyler Technologies has summarize the memorandum, I'd be happy to do that, or if you want to just ask questions, or I can let John introduce himself. How would you like to proceed?
I think, Lisa, if you just give us a real quick summary of what you're seeing in this, and then if we have questions, we'll let them fire away.
Okay. So the memo is just a summary that we did receive only one bid in Proctor. As you probably all know, we sent out this RFP, this request for proposal, to be working in cooperation with the town of Paulett and plan to work with Chittenden as well. Chittenden has not gone out to bid yet. Paulett went out to bid a couple of weeks before Proctor did. They received 2 bids in response, one of which was also from Tyler Technologies, and the other was from David Buckley's firm. In any case, the bid from Tyler Technologies is very comprehensive, and I believe answers all of the requests that we put in the RFP, including a detailed scope of work and details about public relations and other communications and timelines through which the project will be accomplished. The bid price of $86,000 is very fair, given current costs for reappraisal, and I believe we have achieved some economies of scale by combining our efforts with other towns. This price equates to $116 per parcel, given our total taxable parcels of 739 and an additional 29 non-taxable parcels. So, as Judy mentioned, I spoke with John this afternoon about the process of requesting interior inspections and what efforts we made to maximize the information that we got from our data collection. And I feel very comfortable and confident with John's answers, many of which are in the RFP. I know it's in the proposal from Tyler. I know it's a lot to digest when you're just seeing it for the first time right now. But it's all fairly standard procedures of several attempts to make an inspection, exterior inspections of properties, and in the case of Tyler's proposal, they're also proposing to do data mailers to taxpayers to also confirm information that we have in our assessment records and give that other opportunity to speak with taxpayers about the process and what we do in their area. So that said, I would caution you that the climate has somewhat changed. When I started doing this work in the early 2000s, we were getting into 80 and 90% of all properties in town. Now these were some pretty little towns, and it was pretty labor intensive on the part of not just my firm when I was doing the reappraisal, but the listers who were calling and emailing or mailing, rather postcard mailing taxpayers, almost to the point of being a little bit pesky, if you don't mind me saying so. But you know, those rates of interior inspection, it just have the climate has changed. Taxpayers are concerned for their security. They don't want to just let anybody into their house. And there seems to be some reticence that it's better to let the town make a sophisticated wild guess rather than giving them the information. I always try to dissuade taxpayers from that because as many will kind of shoot themselves in the foot as win that gamble. But that being said, it's just we will do the best we can with this reappraisal, and I'm confident that Tyler will, but that climate has somewhat changed. So in conclusion, I'm happy to answer questions, and John will be able to answer more specifically about Tyler's processes, but I think this is a really good bid. I'm a little disappointed that we only have the one to bring you. But the reason is that, you know, we've kind of put together a proposal that is working with combining some of our towns. Some of the other firms that are out there are bidding out as far as 2028 and 2029. And I don't think we want to wait that long, and I'm not sure we would get a more favorable proposal than we have right in front of us tonight. So I recommend that the board approve it, and then we hash out the details of the contract, which will of course have to come before the select board as well.
Any questions from the board?
No, John, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
You're muted.
Yeah, you're still muted, John.
Okay, can everyone hear me? I hope so.
Yes.
I apologize for not being there in person. I found out about the meeting a little bit on the late side, and I had a meeting at the end of the day today, so I apologize for not being there. Otherwise, I would be there. I'll be there at the next meeting. I'm John Vickery. I'm an appraiser, senior project supervisor for Tyler Technologies. I live in Bridgeport, Vermont, and I've worked in Vermont for the last 30 years. For 22 years, I was the assessor in Burlington, and I came on board with Tyler in July of this year. I'm really enjoying the work. And that's one of the reasons why we are able to do this in the following fiscal year, because we are trying to gain contracts and create relationships with towns. And we will do a fantastic job for you. We have a lot of resources in the company, and we have some experienced appraisers on our team. And I just want to say thank you. I hope that you accept this proposal. I believe it is very fair and it's incredibly thorough. It's quite a long proposal.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Ben, can I?
You know, we haven't had a chance to go through this, so
So are we thinking at our next regular meeting to move forward? Would everybody be comfortable with that?
yeah, I think we need to take some time and just go through this, just to familiarize ourselves with the entire proposal. And
Sure. John, you had a question?
Well, how many bidders did you have?
I mean, what?
Bidders.
One.
And what was the total price?
86,000.
86,000.
86,000?
Yeah.
$116 per parcel.
So I think the question when Lisa and I met today was, do we at least look at the bid, accept the bid, rather than going out and rebidding, getting more bids and prolonging the process. Once the bid's accepted, then she still negotiates with them to do the contract, saying, something may not be in this that we need, and kind of put that into the contract and work the contract out. So like what's here may not be final if the contract is negotiated differently, so.
And if there was something in the contract that we didn't agree with, or something that we see here that we didn't agree with,
Right.
then we could just not approve the contract and go back out to bid.
Right.
So in that case, are we comfortable accepting the bid and at least starting contract negotiations while we take a look? And if we need to go back and... Phil?
Could you guys just make sure you take it sounds like they sent over something really extensive. They have and it would be really good to really take a good look at it, what they have before just like plotting forward, because I've been here a few years, and like later on down the road, there'll be like something like, well, why is this going like this? Well, I don't know.
So Phil,
something that's in the
Phil, that's what we're doing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so please just look it over.
That's
what
what.
I'm saying.
So Phil,
I've seen all this stuff slide by,
so Phil.
okay, you're looking this one over.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Awesome. I'm glad.
Lisa.
So I just had a couple of questions, and I guess this will be worked out during the contract, but just from the perspective of approving the bid tonight, what's the negative to not approving it tonight? Because as a school board member and just getting off of VSBA meeting, I know everyone in the state is going out to bid for CLA, and everyone's taking the absolute first date available, because we don't want to be in this place again next year when we're putting our budgets together. And dropping CLAs have put schools at a substantial disadvantage this year. I'm sure you've read about budgets and papers to the right and left of us that are going up 14 and 17%. So a huge portion of that is attributed to dropping CLAs. So I just want to make sure, like, not accepting the bid tonight doesn't mean that, and only having received one bid doesn't put you down further on the time frame. And secondly, what does the time frame look like? Are we saying within this fiscal year, so that when we're sitting here at this time next year, our CLA has been updated? Are we also saying that we say we have 739 parcels? Is the same team doing the entire town?
Okay.
I think that's an important component. Apparently, if you want to contest what your reappraisal is, that someone hasn't done one house and someone else has done another, that we're doing apples to apples. And then the second piece is, why do we think we only received one bid? And how old is this company that we are bidding with?
So I can answer your first question. The reappraisal wouldn't be until fiscal 25-26, according to this bid.
Okay, so that's this coming fiscal year, July 1. July 1 is FY 25.
But it won't be final till 26.
Hold on, Lisa?
There's a little confusion, I think, on that part. The schedule in Tyler's proposal speaks to the initial work starting in 2024, with the bulk of the work to be completed in 2025. This is for an effective date of April 1st, 2026. It is a lengthy process to do a townwide reappraisal. And we're also doing a software conversion as part of this. So part of the plan moving forward is to do the software conversion first, so that we're working out some of those technical kinks with that, so then to be ready to go with reconciling the values based on current market value for an effective date of April 1st, 2026. And so to answer, there's quite a few questions that Lisa had. I don't know if I'm going to remember them all, but she can repeat them, I'm sure. One was, oh gosh, I've lost it already. You made my...
How old is the company?
I lost the second one. I got the first one with the schedule and the time frame. But there's the opportunity cost of, what would be the cost or the risk of saying no to this, going out to bid? The risk would be that, again, as you stated, Lisa, your CLA is going to drift further and further, from 100%, and equity is also drifting as data and becoming less and less accurate. But more importantly, equally importantly, you're probably going to be looking at, if you went out to bid again and made the time frame open, you'd be prolonging this for much, much longer. And I don't think you get a lower price or a better proposal to get the work done. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I know what it takes to do a reappraisal. And if you all keep me on as your assessor, I'll be overseeing this, and I'll be the person to actually hold grievances with the advice of, to answer your question about grievances, with the advice of the appraisal team. But that should grant you some consistency, as well as some consistency in maintaining those values after Tyler completes their work. So that's kind of an important part of the project. And I will, need to talk to the board about, putting in more hours as much as I can put in to be involved involved in this project.
So the other question, since there was another, hold on, Lisa. There was another question since I'm closer to the microphone, which is how old is this company? How long have they been doing this?
John, want to answer that one?
Yes, the company's been around for over 80 years.
Great.
They've been around doing this quite extensively. They have contracts all over the United States of America and as well as some other countries. They're very deep, they have a lot of resources, and they are probably the biggest reappraisal company, certainly in the United States. They also have their own camera software as well. It's a software company, really. The team in New England has some legacy clients as well as some new clients, and they're expanding. And so they're very ambitious and supportive of the need as trying to be expanding the Vermont market. They've done reappraisals in Vermont in the past, but they are hoping that with my presence that we will have more contracts in Vermont and a deeper presence.
Thank you. I would encourage the board to accept the bid. We're at 73.6%, I believe, and it's my understanding and listening that accepting the bid does not make you constrain you if the contract is not written in the capacity in which you like. And I don't think we can afford to be pushed out any further. We want to be at the top tier of this going forward. It's only going to benefit every taxpayer in this community to see the CLA rise.
And again, I think the important thing is until we sign the contract, there's always an out. So I think we just need to move forward because this is something that is going to come whether we want it to or not.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make that motion and that we accept this bid.
Motion has been made. Is it second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Lisa and John, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll get to work on contracts and if you want to talk about time frame for that next meeting, to try to have some kind of draft contract.
Yeah, I think that works, Lisa.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all. Can't wait to meet you in person. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. All right, South Street Sidewalk Project, top 3 engineer, well, I'll let you do that.
So we talked about the 5 engineer teams that had an interest in South Street Sidewalk, and we would with the at-ready engineer firm, so we didn't have to go out for RFP. So I narrowed it down to 3 as you asked me to, and I'm looking to schedule a meeting with those committee members so that we can get this moving forward. So just so you know, the 3 that we ended up with are GPI and Stantec and Donald L. Hamlin Consulting Engineers. And just so you're aware, Stantec is the engineering firm that was chosen for the Tri-Town path as well. So they all had extensive backgrounds in sidewalks, paving.
Okay.
So if you want to let me know a date, hopefully this week, that we can get together to start going through these 3 and get copies to you.
Next week?
This week?
This
Or
week?
next week if it's better for you. Was it you and Bruce or you and Albert?
I thought it was Albert and I, but.
Yeah, I think it was Albert.
Sometime that works. Do you want to go for next week instead?
That would be better for me.
Albert?
Yes, next week is
Monday.
fine.
Yeah, Monday should work fine. I'll email it, and they're really thick, so I'll photocopy, now that we've got it narrowed down, I'll photocopy all of them so everybody has a hard copy.
Thank you. Great.
Okay. So moving on, do I have a motion to recess the regular select board meeting and convene the Board of Water Commissioners?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is any business for the Water Commissioners?
No, there's nothing nothing really to report out on water right now.
Ben, how come we don't get the results of the water? We used to get the results of the water testing and stuff. We don't get that, why?
Yeah, you do, they usually come
I
out.
asked Ben,
And I'm going to the town manager whose job it is to handle that. Judy?
We usually get those out in June. They do it once a year and then they send it to all the residents. They've been doing local ones for selected properties that the state has been asking them to do. And they'll do 10 of those this year. And they go to those parties beforehand, let them know, and then they give them results. But usually when they do the town-wide, it goes to all residents.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
It seems strange to have, like, I have this water softener, and I've never had a water softener before. And like, at night when it goes off, it's loud. It goes off forever, and it runs a heck of a lot of water. Probably it sounds like it runs like 50 gallons of water through the thing. You know, it's like, so we have all these people with these water softeners all over town. Everybody wasting tons and tons of water, running through these things. And all we hear is like, water is this precious commodity, da da da. But you guys sell water to people. You sell water to the entire town. And it's like an inferior product. You have to then buy this water softener to make your product actually, you know, not put stuff in your toilets and pipes and stuff. So it's like, and then these things waste all this water, and I'm just seeing like, well, once we put people on a meter, we're still gonna be like having all this water running through there, and it's gonna be like, it just seems like something that could be, and I know I'm diverging way off topic here, and I really apologize, but it just seems like it's obvious it could be a solution that could be taken care of at the water plant. Since we're doing all these upgrades and everything to the sewer, it seems like there could be something done at a central source to save a lot of water that's passing through everybody's house and just that going down the drain basically.
So Phil, just a couple things. If your water softener is running that much, you probably have a leak going somewhere in your house. Like a toilet
Yes.
that's running, or because it shouldn't be running that much. Mine barely runs at
It
all.
won't,
It runs like once a week, or it does different cycles actually. I don't know. I just got inspected and he said it's all good.
Okay, because
pressure too.
It's got high pressure.
Yeah, depends on the pressure. At night, you notice it more than it is.
Yeah,
But
it has one cycle that runs a lot, and then the other cycles are a lot less. But it has a couple cycles where it just like, I mean, it keeps me up like half the night. It's just like.
I will say, in our house, we had a toilet that was kind of running. You couldn't hear it, but we were going through tons of salt. And when we finally figured out it was the toilet, once that got fixed, that problem was completely solved.
Right, but this goes off on a timer. It's not based on how much water you use.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally unrelated to how much water we use.
And the answer to your question about
And it's not a question. I'm just saying it's just an idea that if anybody wants to take an initiative and maybe do something with it. And I'm sorry for taking
okay.
more time in your meeting.
Well,
but it seems obvious to me.
I just want to say that was brought up when we were making the conversion from above water to the artesian wells, about water softeners, putting it at the source. And there, at the time, there was no method to
do a
do the
whole
softening,
system.
the volume of water that has to come through. When you think of, every time the fire department goes out, hooks up to a hydrant, training, all that water is going to be
Right.
have to be softened, where right now it doesn't have to be softened. So there wasn't a means at the time we made that conversion.
Right. But there's a definite argument for maybe doing something.
But there was no grant money for it either.
Yeah. I wasn't on board at the time, John, I don't know, but I do know that
But you're saying there's no tech, or that it's probably too expensive to try to...
probably a combination.
Yes.
Okay.
But with those softeners, they're programmable, and what you put in there for a hardness number will determine, what the frequency is that it cycles to clean, your softener.
Yeah, the water in town's pretty hard.
Yep. So, we've looked into it, we had to look into it to do the job.
But it's good to ask the question, because
Thank you.
unless
Thank
you
you.
do. Any other business for water? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the Board of Water Commissioners and convene the Board of Sewer Commissioners?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aldrich and Elliott wastewater facility upgrades.
So I put in your packet the water infrastructure financing program that we're doing and the report. This is kind of a abbreviated version of the real report that he gave us, but I wanted you guys just to kind of see the mapping and kind of the bottom line as far as cost on the very first page. So I think we need to start talking about a bond for the future to get this project done. And he's willing to come to our next meeting to talk more about this report. If you have questions and look it over and, have any ideas on,
Be helpful.
Yeah. And speaking of grants, this is what we were looking at with the Rutland.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And he's actually coming on the 26th to talk about, so they're moving that forward. I just talked to Devin today, so, yeah.
Good.
Could you expand on what you mean by the upgrades? There's some type of tank liner thing, and then could you just expand on what upgrades need to be done? So I just go from there.
There's actually quite a few upgrades, and I think the unfortunate part is a lot of this should have been done years ago, and it wasn't.
Understood.
So now it's costing us twice as much as it would have.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
We need 2 lagoon liners, so that and that's the biggest upgrade that we're doing. Part of a lot of the parts and equipment down at the facility too are very outdated, and they keep kind of putting Band-Aids on it, fixing it, but these motors and stuff are very outdated, so they can't even find parts. So we've got to look into that. But the majority of this is basically doing an asset management plan and how can we better operate the facility and what's it look like. And a good portion of this cost is not just the lagoons and the repairs, but it's the sludge removal. And that's gone up. That was, I think the estimate he gave us was $2 million just to remove it.
Couldn't we slide it into a quarry somewhere? I bike ride a lot around here, and I go by a lot of times I go by the recycling plant, and they are busy shoving all kinds of slurry into these rail cars. I'm not sure if it's being dumped in slurry pits or where it's going to, but sometimes
Phil,
I go by there and
That's got nothing to...
saying, why don't we just
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it legally.
Yes.
And also to answer your question, the lifespan on these plants are 20 to 25 years,
Yes.
which ended about 10 to 15 years ago. So this has to be done. Absolutely has to be.
Understood. It would be nice if that was already kind of within budget, that maybe planning in the future, you could plan for the future, for everything to be built into a package so that you don't need a bond, that we could actually...
Well, but bonds are how you do projects like this.
It would jump
Yes.
up, the budget would be 2
Yes.
times what it is now.
And a lot of these bonds, we actually wind up with a negative interest rate.
Yeah.
But see, if I had a private business and I was, let's say, I was the sewage plant, I would be charging people what it would cost to maintain the plant instead of going along and then 13 years later going, I need $100,000 from every family or something like that,
But Phil, what we're saying is we can get the bond at basically 0% interest.
Okay.
So it wouldn't make sense to take money from people when we could borrow it and pay it back over time and not pay interest.
Yeah, but you're still writing costs into the future is what I'm saying, rather than having, and I understand that's the way things work, I'm just going to...
So basically, the water and sewer rates, they're set so that they support the facilities and the infrastructure. You want to make sure you cover those costs, and that's what you do. You don't charge outrageous amounts that aren't covering those costs for down the road. So usually you go out to bond for this because the price tag is so high.
But then how are you going to structure the loan payments? You're going to increase people's fees for water usage, or how do you plan to pay for now you're going to have a new expense because you have to pay this bond expense, so now what money is going to be allocated for this bond expense down the road?
Right. And that
But Phil, it's the same thing. We either do it before or we do it after.
Sure, yes.
But if we can do it with a bond, I mean, this is just municipal projects, that's how they work.
No, I understand, but I'm just asking we're going to get a bond. I'm just saying, well then, how do you allocate the money to make the payments on the bond? Then?
It'll come from the general fund just like
Okay.
all the other bonds do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it'll come from user fees,
Yeah, you're right. It would come
not
from
from the general fund. It'll
Yes.
come from us, because our user fees will go up.
Right. Yeah,
That's
what
what he's
I'm saying.
saying.
Okay, gotcha.
It gets put in the
But
water
it's
and
hard to-
wastewater budgets.
Can't predict this.
Well, the water is a little different because you have timber harvest that you can supplement that with, and that's what that money should be used for. timber harvest money and shipment should be going towards water projects.
Just don't say it's free money. You gotta pay it back. One way or another, you gotta pay it back.
I understand, John, I'm saying it
I
doesn't
didn't hear
carry.
anybody say free money.
I'm saying I didn't have interest.
Anybody
But say,
You said free.
Nobody's happy about it.
it was,
Nobody's happy about it.
But they do forgive, just like they did on the water. We had like a $6 million bond and they forgave like 2 point something. It was because it was a negative amount. So whatever thesaurus you want to use for the word, if someone's forgiving $2.1 million, it does kind of equate to free money. Yeah, you've got to pay the other 4, but I mean, it's better than paying 6, right?
Anything else for sewer? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the Board of Sewer Commissioners and reconvene the regular Select Board meeting?
So moved.
second,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Department reports. Any questions on the sheriff's report?
Yes.
no,
Page 5 of 6.
Yes.
On 1/8/2024, from 1730 to 2000 hours, you know, the deputy was at the Rutland County Sheriff Department. It doesn't say anything other than that, just at Rutland County Sheriff Department. But at 2000 hours to 2030, they completed a training binder. I'm not going to assume we paid for the deputy's training time, but it would be nice if they did fill in the information that we were being charged for. All it says is, you know, the acronym for Rutland County Sheriff Department. Number 53831.
Third from the bottom.
Half hours of, I don't know what, I would say training, but I won't say it because it's not reported as such.
I can double check with them.
Yep.
But I believe you told us last time when they do trainings and things like that, they're not billed to the town.
Training. You wrote it down.
You probably paid for it.
This is all speculation.
It is. That's why Judy's gonna reach out and we'll find out.
Yes, right.
Anything else for the sheriff? Town manager's report.
And I also have Public Works in there
Kyle,
that
yeah.
wasn't on the, but that was included, so. Anybody has questions on that?
Any questions for the Public Works report?
no,
Okay. Town manager's report.
Okay. So, a lot of storm cleanup. We had power outages, trees down. Lost one of the light globes across the park, but it was there, so I actually drove by and saw it, so I retrieved it and they put it back on the next day. Talked about the list that I gave you and picking out the top 3 contenders for the engineering. So that's going to be scheduled for next week, Tuesday or Monday. The trees are down South Street. I had reached out to Trees Inc. to see when they were going to haul the trees away, and they actually did remove them on the 16th. And the engineering firm was made aware of that today because they sent me communications asking about the trees coming down for the project and stuff and getting ready for that. We have issues with people placing stakes at the edge of properties, making it difficult to plow roadways and sidewalks. They should be placed off the right of way, not right next to the road and not right next to the sidewalks.
Well, I guess it's too late. I was thinking if we could communicate that in the town report. You know, if we have a standard, you know, just, or maybe we could put it on our homepage.
Yeah,
You know,
well-
brought it to the
Well,
public's attention.
yeah, it could go in the town report.
Well, no, it's already ready to go to the printers.
Webpage makes sense though.
But if we
Well,
could
I
put
mean,
it
a
on
lot
the
of
town
it's
report.
common
if that's-
sense. I'm sorry, but it's like if you want the sidewalks in front of your house plowed, and you put the stake right at the edge of the sidewalk, the plow is gonna hit them.
The plow is wider than the sidewalk and it's tearing up people's yards, so I think people are probably responding to that. I've seen a lot of places where there's a sidewalk and people's yards are getting absolutely torn up where it's wider than where the plow.
Right, but the
Yeah,
stakes have to
but-
go off the right of way, so they have.
That is in the right of way.
Doing that to combat their yards being torn up possibly. I'm just-
And well, it's hard when there's curbs too, because they can't, it's too big for them,
Yes.
so it goes off the curb, so they've gotta stay on. What they've tried to do sometime is go off the curb and tilt it, so it just, goes up and cleans part way and then come back the other way. But I think part of the problem too is when they're starting to do the plowing on the sidewalks, the grounds weren't frozen yet. So it was tearing up things a lot more than it would if the
Yeah.
ground was frozen.
But,
You got a lot of woes.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, I said you have a lot of woes.
That's true.
It's funny. Okay, understood.
There was also a discussion about reopening the dump, like once a month maybe. You want to use ARPA funds or something just to kind of give people more opportunity to haul things away instead of twice a year. Obviously, you couldn't get rid of Casella by doing that, but it just would give, it's just something I was asked to put out there, so.
I would vote no on that one, and that, we do have the curbside garbage pickup and recycling, which is weekly, and then what you can't put out there probably are mattresses, the larger items, so we do give the people an opportunity twice a year to bring it down to the transfer station or the dump, to have it taken away.
Right.
So rather than expand the services there, I would much rather see the money going to accounts that we've already identified as, short of the needs that we're gonna have. We've discussed, getting a new backhoe. We've discussed, the bucket loader, additional money for paving, sidewalks. So rather than put it into expanding, the service which we already provide, fully funded, for trash disposal, I would rather see us fund some of the other services that we provide that are underfunded right now, so.
Plus, it's not sustainable. I mean, if we did it through ARPA funds, it
yeah,
Yes.
it's really,
No, I mean, I think it was brought because a lot of people felt the dump should never have closed. And it wasn't decided on in the right manner, it was just closed. And the money, expense there was less than what we're paying outsourcing it, so it was just mentioned to me.
Yeah, I
Said
think
I'd share it with the
we
board.
Hold on. Go ahead.
I said I would share it with the board just to get feedback and just so I'd have something to go back to people and share them.
Okay. John?
What I'm seeing, Ben, people are not recycling, okay? And your trash is down. So that's what I'm seeing.
what?
I'm just saying, I'm gonna look at the tonnage.
I did, John,
Yeah.
for fiscal year '23. At the beginning of the year, the tonnage for trash disposal was more expensive than a ton of recyclables. But the last 6 months, the tonnage per the ton for trash was $127 a ton, and recyclables was $145 a ton. So it's more expensive to dispose of recyclables than it is for trash. So if it's going in the trash, actually it's saving us money, but we rather see it go, into the recyclables. But it's more expensive to get rid of the recyclables.
Yes,
Because the market's not there.
Yep.
right.
Whatever, but it's not there, so.
Okay, continuing with the town manager's
Yeah.
report.
Okay, so the water and sewer budgets, we talked about last time, but they were completed. And I think I mentioned to most of you that the annual report has been completed and will be sent out tomorrow to the printers. And I think it's earlier than normal, so, that it's being sent out, so.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah,
Okay, I already talked about the asset management plan. The Tri-Town Bike Path Kickoff meeting was the 17th. We met with the design team and need to identify problem areas, get photos and site visits. And I believe the site visit is starting sometime, I think, April, May. So I kind of brought that to your attention because they're looking to the towns to kind of come up with ideas where they feel that it's not gonna be feasible because of property owners that they know that won't want them having to pass through there, or properties that you feel are connected already to West Rutland or Pittsford that might be viable to connect to. So, you know, everybody's offered to take pictures, they'll come out and take pictures. They kind of want to walk around. We'd like to go to the sites with them to see what their plans are, so. That's just an update on that. Still waiting to hear from the state. Reached out to them once again about 2651 West Street. Tried to give them a viable mailing address to get in touch with them a different route other than just email. So they have not returned my email as of this week. Town Administrator Quarterly Luncheon Meeting. The Rutland Planning Commission does a quarterly meeting with all town administrators, which has kind of proven to be beneficial because everybody kind of talks about what's going on in their town, what the issues are, and how to share information with one another, because you get inundated with emails from the state, from rural roads, from everything, and just kind of keeping each other in check and stuff. And so we created an agenda for the next meeting so we can kind of talk about hot topics. So if you guys ever have any questions or concerns or something you want me to raise with them, just let me know. We talked about the rink opening this past weekend, so that was very successful for them. I attended trainings this past couple weeks for the warning and model articles, and the town meeting Australian ballot, and voluntary paid family and medical leave insurance. So those were all done through the league. I was supposed to receive a quote for heat pumps in the town office, but they called me Friday afternoon and said he was sick. So he's coming back this Wednesday to try to give me a second quote.
Okay.
It wasn't on the agenda, but I do have one Mortimer Proctor fund application, and I would just like to forward it to them. So I'm just looking for the board to let me do that.
And this was for concerts and fireworks for our yard.
Correct.
Yes, I certainly think that's a good use.
Thank you.
And we talked about the pool then, because it wasn't on the agenda, so I didn't submit it. Or are you gonna have a special meeting?
Well, I think we have to have a special meeting just to vote on it, because it wasn't on the agenda.
On this?
Yeah, or can I just send it? Can't we just send it? It's the only one we have.
Well, the direction was supposed to be that the board gives their consensus and the town manager writes a cover letter with whatever applications fall under the umbrella of the
Right.
town to Mortimer Proctor Board, just saying that, yes, we support this application. That's the only thing that was ever decided.
If it's just a consensus, can we put it under old or new business at the
Well,
end of the
that's what I'm
agenda?
saying,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
because everything is due at the end of this month.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, so the pool,
Yeah.
we'd like to, get like 3 more of those mats that we had up there for the vegetation growth. And, I spoke to Celia, the last year when we bought them, they were like $360, let's say. So I didn't look at but let's say they're $400 now, probably. So we'd like to get 3 of those, so we could definitely put them down, you know, like the entire length that we had them for the, tests, and then try to move them around on the other side of the crib over there to try to,
That's to keep the weeds down, right, Lisa?
yeah. And when we did use them, if you'd been up there, it really did. Otherwise, I don't know what the weed is. Someone said, oh, do you have milfoil there? I don't know what milfoil is. It's just this really long weed that grows up out of the water there, and we have it like crazy up there. And then we just have leeches. So we'd like to get 3 more of those, so say roughly $1,500. And then we wanted to get like 2 or 3 more kayaks for the kids. That is a really great thing that we only have 2 small kayaks up there. It's great. Albert's been up there. Little kids go out and use the kayak, and you can really just go around, and it's cool to kind of see 4 or 5 of them out there together doing it. And it's a great, I mean, we talk about lifetime sports, getting kids outdoors, you know, being out there on those. And I just did a quick search at Dick's Sporting Goods this morning. I didn't get hurried because Judy said it wasn't on the agenda, so I was doing some other things for Judy. But I would say roughly like $250, $300. You have no idea. Like there's one right now I could buy for like $125, you know, because there's this great deal. So there might be a great deal then too. But so those would be the only two items that we'd be looking for the pool.
And they love those paddle boards too, up there.
Yeah.
Just kayaks and paddle boards, popular items.
So can the board agree that that sounds like a good ask for Mortimer Proctor and,
I'll write the letters.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
excellent.
sure.
Thank you. And I just wanted to bring this up because this was, I know last year you knew that the skating rink had the summer camp for the kids, and they're looking to do it again this year, and I said I wanted to run it by the board. So it's the Little Phantom Summer Camp.
Yep.
So they're looking to do that, and I said I would just bring it to your attention so you're aware.
Yeah, certainly.
I think it was great last year.
I do too. Provided a service that the town, you know, certainly needed.
And there have been a lot more requests to use the building, so that's another thing I think the committee needs to talk about and then bring to the board as far as looking at renting it rather than allowing people to use it, just to help support the heating and the electricity.
Sure.
Anything else? Okay. If not, is there a motion to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the town's contract with the Rutland County Sheriff's Department would clearly place the town at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its negotiation strategy if it discusses the proposed contract terms in public? Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then is there a motion that we move into executive session to discuss the town's contract with Rutland County Sheriff's Department under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session.